The Power of Now, a journey into present moment awareness. Today, we're going on a deep dive into a book that questions the very core of our existence and how we perceive life and time itself. Imagine living every moment so fully that the past and future no longer have power over your mind. Picture finding peace and fulfillment in the present moment. This is exactly what Eckhart Tolle invites us to explore in his transformative book, The Power of Now. In this audiobook summary, we'll uncover Tolle's profound teachings and life-changing insights. These teachings show us how we can escape the chains of time, overcome the pain of the past, and embrace the present moment as the only true path to peace, fulfillment, and ultimately enlightenment. Whether you're searching for inner peace or trying to understand yourself on a deeper level, this book has some of the most valuable insights to offer. So, if you're ready to change the way you live your life, keep reading as we explore how to harness the power of the present moment and why this moment, the one you're experiencing right now, is the only moment that truly matters. The profound impact of the power of now in a world where we are constantly chasing after the next goal, the next task, or the next phase of life. The power of now challenges us to stop and question, why are we so fixated on the past and future? Why is it so difficult to simply be present, to live fully in the now? Eckhart Tolle argues that our attachment to the past and anxiety about the future are the primary sources of our suffering. We spend so much time reliving old pain or worrying about what's to come that we miss out on the beauty and peace that are available to us in this very moment. Tolle's teachings are both simple and revolutionary. He asks us to let go of the mental noise that constantly fills our minds, the worries, the regrets, the endless stream of thoughts that distract us from the present. By doing this, he suggests we can free ourselves from suffering and experience true peace and happiness. But these ideas didn't come to Tolle easily. In fact, he spent much of his life consumed by depression and anxiety. He describes a time when he would wake up in the middle of the night feeling utterly lost and without purpose. This sense of hopelessness haunted him until one day he had a profound awakening that changed the course of his life forever. His personal story, which we'll explore in detail, is a powerful example of how we can all transform our lives by learning to live in the present moment. Eckhart Tolle's awakening. From despair to enlightenment, Eckhart Tolle wasn't always the spiritual teacher we know today. For much of his early life, he was overwhelmed by feelings of depression and meaninglessness. By the age of 29, he often found himself waking up in the middle of the night, feeling completely worthless, believing that there was no longer any purpose in living. He describes how, during these long, dark nights, the distant sound of a train passing through the city would echo in the background, only deepening his sense of isolation. At the time, he felt no love or attachment to anything. Neither his family, his friends, nor his work could fill the emptiness he felt inside. One night, during a particularly fierce internal storm of emotion, Tolle reached a breaking point. He wanted to escape everything, to disappear forever. He felt he could no longer bear the weight of his sadness and despair, and he was on the brink of giving up completely. Nothing seemed to matter anymore. Nothing seemed to fill the void in his heart. But then something incredible happened. The next morning, when Tolle woke up, he heard the sound of a small bird chirping outside his window. It was a sound he had never truly noticed before, a sound that seemed to pierce through the fog of his despair. As he gently opened his eyes, he saw sunlight streaming through the window, warming his face. In that moment, something shifted inside him. Everything around him seemed new, as if he was seeing the world for the first time. Tears filled his eyes as he looked around his room, noticing things he had never truly seen before: the light, the colors, the simple objects that had always been there but had gone unnoticed in the haze of his suffering. For the first time in his life, Tolle decided to step outside and take a walk. As he wandered through the park near his home, he found beauty in everything around him: the trees, the soft breeze, the sunlight filtering through the leaves. It was as if he had been reborn, seeing the world with fresh eyes. From that day on, he visited the park daily, simply sitting on a bench and enjoying the beauty of the world around him. Even though he was alone, he felt a deep sense of happiness and peace, unlike anything he had ever experienced before. Soon, people began to approach him, asking, "What is the secret to your happiness? How can we feel as peaceful as you do?" Tolle's answer was simple: happiness is within you. Your mind is just too filled with noise for you to hear it. You're so caught up in worrying about the future or regretting the past that you can't see the beauty of the present moment. You are not your mind. One of the central teachings in The Power of Now is the idea that you are not your mind. Tolle argues that we often mistake the constant chatter of our minds, the endless stream of thoughts, worries, and judgments, as our true selves. But in reality, the mind is just a tool, and when we let it run our lives, we become trapped in a cycle of suffering. Tolle illustrates this idea with the story of a beggar who had been living on the sidewalk for 30 years. One day, a stranger passed by, and the beggar held out his cap, asking, "Could you spare some change?" The stranger replied, "I don't have any money, but what's that box you're sitting on?" The beggar replied, "Oh, it's just an old box. I've been sitting on it for years." The stranger asked, "Have you ever looked inside?" The beggar replied, "No, it's probably empty." But when the beggar finally opened the box, he discovered that it was filled with gold. This story illustrates how we often search outside ourselves for happiness, never realizing that the treasure we seek is within us. We look to other people, achievements, or material possessions to fill the void inside, but the real treasure, the peace, contentment, and fulfillment we desire, can only be found within. Tolle teaches that the mind is like the beggar's box. We sit on it for years, never realizing that it contains the gold we've been searching for. Consciousness, the way out of pain. If the treasure is within us, how do we find it? According to Tolle, the first step is to become aware of the mental patterns that keep us trapped in suffering. Most of our pain comes from living in the past or the future, rather than in the present moment. We replay old memories, reliving past hurts, or we worry about what might happen in the future. But Tolle reminds us that the past and future are mental constructs. They only exist in our minds. The only reality is the present moment. Imagine for a moment that there were no humans on Earth, only animals and plants. Would there be a past or future? Would an oak tree wonder about tomorrow? Or would a lion dwell on what happened yesterday? No, animals and plants live entirely in the present moment. They don't experience the same mental suffering that we do because they are not trapped in their minds. They simply exist in the now. Tolle teaches that we can learn a lot from the natural world. When we focus our attention fully on the present moment, we let go of the mental chatter that causes so much of our suffering. We stop identifying with the mind, and in doing so, we free ourselves from pain. Moving deeply into the now, have you ever wondered why people enjoy activities like mountain climbing, car racing, or extreme sports? It's because these activities force them to be fully present. When you're climbing a mountain or speeding down a racetrack, there's no room for thinking about the past or worrying about the future. You have to be fully engaged in the moment, and this brings a sense of freedom and exhilaration. But Tolle asks, do we really need to engage in extreme activities to experience the present moment? The answer, of course, is no. The present moment is always available to us, no matter where we are or what we're doing. We just need to learn how to access it. A Zen master once asked his students, "What is missing in this moment?" The students paused, contemplating deeply. The answer, of course, was nothing. In every moment, there is a deep sense of peace and fulfillment, but we are often too distracted by our thoughts to notice it. Tolle suggests that one simple way to connect with the present moment is to spend time in nature. Sit quietly under a tree or simply observe a tree from your window. Notice the colors, the shapes, the movement of the leaves in the wind. As you focus on the tree, you'll notice that your mind begins to quiet down. The worries and problems that were occupying your mind just moments ago will start to fade, and you'll feel a sense of peace. This is the power of the present moment. It doesn't require a special activity or extreme experience. It's always available to us if we take the time to notice it. Conclusion: embrace the power of now in the morning. When you wake up and your mind is already racing with thoughts of what you need to do today, take a moment to pause. Instead of rushing into the future, take a deep breath and remind yourself that happiness and peace are not somewhere out there in the future. They are here in the present moment. If you learn to live fully in the now, as Eckhart Tolle teaches, you'll find that the peace and fulfillment you've been searching for have been with you all along. The power of now is not just a philosophical idea. It's a practical guide for transforming your life. By learning to live in the present moment, you can free yourself from the pain of the past and the anxiety of the future. You can find peace, happiness, and fulfillment in the only place where they truly exist, the here and now. We often struggle to feel fully satisfied because our minds have a habit of avoiding the present moment. This constant mental distraction prevents us from truly enjoying life as it unfolds. Psychologist Carl Jung once shared a conversation he had with a Native American leader who observed that many white people seem restless and unhappy, as if something important is missing from their lives. They constantly search for something, always in need of more. and this endless search leaves them uneasy and anxious. Do you ever feel like those white people described in the story? Have you ever stopped for a moment and asked yourself, am I completely relaxed right now? Many times, we don't even realize that our minds are taking control, pulling us away from the present moment. Instead of enjoying where we are or what we're doing, we get caught up in thoughts of the past or worries about the future. But why does our mind keep us from fully enjoying the now? One reason we struggle to stay present is resentment. Bitterness or frustration, whether it's toward your jobs, a person, or a particular situation, can prevent us from feeling content in the moment. Maybe you felt overwhelmed at work or irritated by a colleague, and these negative feelings build up over time. But holding on to this resentment doesn't serve any useful purpose. In fact, it can harm us in the long run. Imagine carrying a heavy weight on your shoulders every day. It would be exhausting, right? Negative emotions are like that weight. They drag us down and prevent us from seeing the positive side of life. It's important to recognize that we have the power to change this. If something is bothering us, we can try to address it directly. Whether it's a difficult conversation we need to have or a situation that requires a change, we have the ability to act. By taking control of what's bothering us, we can free ourselves from the burden of negativity. Think of it as setting down that heavy weight. Once you let it go, you'll feel lighter, freer, and more open to enjoying the present moment. Whenever you feel negativity creeping in, remind yourself to drop it. Instead of complaining or feeling stuck, take a moment to shift your mindset. Imagine throwing off the weight of your worries and starting fresh. You'll find that removing unnecessary things from your life and taking control of your situation isn't as difficult as it may seem. Another reason we struggle to enjoy the present is inaction. When we're unhappy with something in our lives, we often feel powerless to change it. But the truth is, we always have choices. If a situation makes you unhappy, you can change it, leave it, or accept it. Each of these choices gives us the opportunity to take control of our lives. Even if we make a mistake, we can learn from it and grow. The key is to take action rather than staying stuck in a situation that makes us miserable. Some people choose to accept difficult situations, hoping for future happiness. While there's nothing wrong with being hopeful for the future, true happiness can only be found in the present. It's about being grateful for what you have right now. Imagine standing in a long line, surrounded by people who are frustrated and complaining. But instead of joining in, you stay calm and peaceful. When it's finally your turn and the attendant apologizes for the wait, you can respond with kindness. No problem at all. I didn't mind waiting. I was just enjoying my time. This simple shift in perspective can make all the difference. These mind strategies help us realize that overcoming negativity isn't just about reacting differently to situations. It's about embracing and finding joy in the present, no matter what's going on around us. Learning to live in the moment instead of constantly worrying about the past or future allows us to experience life more fully. One way to practice this is through what Zen masters call the state of presence. This means being fully aware and focused on the present moment. Try closing your eyes for a minute and ask yourself, What will my next thought be? As you wait for a thought to arise, you stay alert and focused. In this state, no other thoughts distract you, no worries about the past, no anxieties about the future. For a brief moment, you are completely present. But as soon as your concentration fades, your mind starts to wander again, and that peaceful state disappears. Zen masters teach their students the importance of being present by surprising them with a sudden action, like hitting them with a wooden stick. If the student isn't paying attention, they'll react in shock. But a student who is fully present will sense the master's approach and be prepared. This lesson teaches us that when we are not fully aware of the present moment, our thoughts can easily pull us along like a leaf floating down a river. To gain control over our minds, we must be rooted in the now, fully aware of what's happening inside and around us. Another way to connect with the present is by tuning into your inner body. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and observe the sensations in your body. Feel your chest rise and fall with each breath. Do you notice the energy flowing through you? This simple practice helps you reconnect with your body and the present moment. It reminds you that you are alive and full of energy, even when you may not realize it. Your inner body is a powerful source of strength. It is formless, limitless, and filled with energy. Many religious traditions, both from the East and West, emphasize the importance of controlling the body's desires through practices like fasting or abstaining from physical pleasures. These practices are meant to help people transcend the demands of the body and reach a higher state of awareness. But true transformation doesn't come from denying the body. It comes from accepting it. When you connect with your inner body, you also slow down the aging process. Even as your physical body grows older, your inner body remains vibrant and full of life. No matter how old you are, your inner body stays light and energized. By staying connected to this inner energy, you can strengthen your immune system and protect yourself from negative emotions like anger, fear, or sadness. Connecting with your inner body also helps you tap into a deeper energy that exists in all life forms. Some call this energy Shai, or the universal life force. This energy flows through everything in the universe, connecting all living things. When you quiet your mind and focus on your inner body, you align yourself with this energy. This state of stillness and peace allows you to experience a deeper connection to the world around you. To fully experience this connection, it's important to surrender to the present moment. Nature is a powerful teacher in this regard. Watching a sunrise, sitting by a river, or gazing up at the stars can help you feel a deep sense of peace and connection. In these moments, you lose track of time and are fully present. The more we surrender to nature and the present moment, the more alive we feel. To practice this in everyday life, try turning off your phone for a while and finding a quiet place to sit. Take a few deep breaths and feel the energy in your body. Don't think, just feel. Allow yourself to be fully present in the moment. When you go deep enough, the boundaries between your inner and outer body disappear, and you become one with the energy that flows through the universe. This is a state of enlightenment. Enlightened relationships are also based on presence and acceptance. Imagine a couple who falls deeply in love. At first, their love feels perfect, but over time, jealousy and control start to take over. They begin to argue, hurt each other, and the relationship that once brought them happiness now causes pain. This happens because they were both using the relationship to fill an emptiness within themselves. True love doesn't try to change the other person. It accepts them as they are, with all their flaws and strengths. This kind of love brings happiness and peace because it's based on acceptance, not control. And real love isn't something we need to find in someone else. It already exists within us. True love means being present and loving ourselves and everything around us. In the end, beyond happiness and sadness, there is peace. Consider the story of an old man who, lying on his deathbed, remained calm and peaceful. Despite the seriousness of his condition, he did not fear death or regret anything. He accepted his life and death with grace, and this acceptance allowed him to pass away peacefully. This story reminds us that nothing in life is purely good or bad. Sometimes our greatest challenges teach us the most valuable lessons. When we live in the present, we accept life as it is, without labeling things as positive or negative. We simply let life unfold, just as the old man accepted his death. This kind of acceptance brings true peace and allows us to live more fully in each moment. The overwhelming stress of life in today's fast-paced world, the pressure we experience can sometimes feel unbearable. You might feel overwhelmed by the endless demands of your work, the looming deadlines, and the constant pressure to perform. The stress builds up, leaving you with little time to relax or enjoy precious moments with your family. It feels like the clock is always ticking, your boss is watching, and your mind is racing with anxiety. Your thoughts become so scattered that you can't focus on the present moment, and you start to lose your ability to relax or enjoy life. What should you do when the pressure becomes too much? Should you panic? Absolutely not. The key to overcoming this stress is simpler than you think, and the solution can be found in a single minute. Stressful situations don't have to control your life. You have the power to change how you respond to them, and you can begin by finding calm in the chaos. Finding calm in a stressful moment whenever you feel overwhelmed. Take a step back and focus on your breath. Sit down comfortably, take a deep breath in, and slowly exhale. Repeat this process several times. Breathing deeply and slowly allows your body to relax and your mind to slow down. This simple act helps you center yourself and brings you back to the present moment. As you continue to breathe, you may find that the tension in your muscles begins to ease and your racing thoughts start to settle. This is the power of mindfulness, being aware of the present moment without judgment. By focusing on your breathing, you are allowing yourself to let go of the overwhelming thoughts and stress that have been consuming your mind. Now, as your mind becomes clearer, shift your focus to the task in front of you. Often, we get overwhelmed because we think about everything at once: the pile of work, the upcoming deadlines, and the things we haven't yet accomplished. Instead of worrying about the entire workload, break it down Focus only on the task that needs to be done right now. One by one, your tasks will get completed and the burden will start to feel lighter. The power of prioritizing, another important aspect of managing stress, is learning how to prioritize. Not everything needs to be done immediately. It's common to feel pressured to tackle every task at once, but this approach only adds to the chaos in your mind. Take a moment to step back and organize your tasks based on urgency. What is the most important thing you need to complete right now? What can wait until later? By organizing your workload, you'll regain control over your time and reduce the sense of overwhelm. When you focus on what's important now, the pressure eases. You don't have to carry the weight of tomorrow's worries today. This idea is beautifully expressed in a famous passage from the Bible. Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. This wisdom encourages us to live in the present moment, trusting that the future will take care of itself. Worrying about tomorrow only distracts you from what needs your attention today. Understanding surrender. What it really means when we hear the word surrender, we often think of giving up or admitting defeat. But surrender, in its true sense, is not about giving up. It's about accepting what is happening right now without fear, anger, or resistance. Surrender means allowing life to unfold as it is without trying to control every outcome or forcing things to go your way. This doesn't mean you stop trying or become passive. Instead, it means you accept the reality of the present moment and make your decisions based on that reality rather than reacting out of frustration or fear. Surrendering is about finding peace in the present. Life is full of ups and downs, and there will always be moments that don't go as planned. When things start to go wrong, our natural instinct is to resist. We want to fix everything immediately, and if we can't, we may become angry or upset. However, this resistance only creates more tension and stress. Surrendering means accepting the situation as it is without allowing negative emotions to take over. Surrendering in challenging situations, imagine that you are walking along a path and suddenly get stuck in the mud. In this situation, surrendering doesn't mean that you sit down and accept that you're stuck forever. Instead, it means acknowledging the fact that you are stuck and finding a calm, clear way to get out of the mud. You may need to ask for help, or you may need to carefully work your way out. But the key is that you accept the reality of being stuck rather than wasting energy on frustration or blame. If you become angry or start blaming others for your situation, you will only make things worse. The situation won't change just because you're upset. In fact, negative emotions will drain your energy and make it harder to find a solution. By surrendering to the reality of the moment, you free up mental space to think more clearly and take positive action. Navigating life's fog with inner awareness, life is often compared to walking through a thick fog. You can't always see what lies ahead, and the future is uncertain. But imagine that you are holding a powerful flashlight. This flashlight represents your consciousness, your ability to be aware of the present moment. Even though the fog of uncertainty surrounds you, the light from your flashlight allows you to see the next few steps ahead. This is how life works. The fog represents the challenges and uncertainties we all face, but your awareness and inner strength act as a guiding light. As long as you stay focused on the present and use your inner light, you will be able to move forward one step at a time. And as you do, you may even begin to enjoy the journey. When we refuse to surrender to the present moment, life feels much harder. We fear what might happen next. We worry about problems that haven't yet occurred, and we start to doubt ourselves and others. This constant fear and doubt can drain our energy and leave us feeling physically and emotionally exhausted. Embracing your inner strength whenever you feel lost in the fog of life. Remember that you have a powerful inner light to guide you. This light is your consciousness, your ability to stay present and aware, no matter how difficult the situation. Life may seem overwhelming at times, but you always have the power to focus on the present and take things one step at a time. You might be tempted to think that life is full of too many challenges, but the truth is, you don't need to solve everything at once. Focus only on what is right in front of you. Surrender to the present moment, accept it fully, and then take action. By doing this, you will find that life becomes more manageable, and you will be better equipped to handle whatever comes your way. Resistance versus surrender. The key difference, the opposite of surrender, is resistance. Resistance means fighting against reality, trying to control what you can't, and refusing to accept things as they are. When you resist, you may find yourself blaming others, regretting past decisions, or feeling fearful about the future. These negative emotions only add to your stress and make it harder to find peace. Surrender, on the other hand, allows you to let go of these negative emotions. By accepting the present moment, you free yourself from the need to control everything. This doesn't mean you stop trying to improve your life, but it means you approach life's challenges from a place of calmness and clarity, rather than frustration and fear. Letting go of negative emotions at this very moment, you might be feeling overwhelmed by your current situation. You may be blaming your family, society, or yourself for the difficulties you're facing. You may feel like life is unfair and that you've made too many wrong decisions. These negative emotions can make your problems feel even bigger than they are. But before you give in to these feelings, take a deep breath. Tell yourself, I am in a difficult situation, but I will not give up. Remind yourself that you have the strength to handle whatever life throws your way. You might be stuck in a tough spot right now, but that doesn't mean you'll stay stuck forever. Start taking small steps toward a solution, and soon enough, you'll find that you've moved past the problem. Living fully in the present, one of the greatest lessons you can learn is the power of living in the present moment. The past is gone, and the future is unknown. But the present is where your power lies. When you focus on the here and now, you free yourself from the burden of worrying about what might happen or regretting what has already happened. You realize that the only thing you truly have control over is what you do today. Living in the present allows you to fully appreciate life. You stop chasing after future goals and start enjoying the simple moments of everyday life. You become more mindful of the people around you, the beauty of nature, and the joy of simply being alive. Conclusion: embrace the power of now. In this message, you've learned about the power of surrender and the importance of living in the present. By letting go of the past and releasing your worries about the future, you free yourself from unnecessary stress. You start to realize that the treasure you've been searching for has been within you all along, your ability to live fully in the present. From today onward, make it a goal to live in the present. Be grateful for what you have and recognize the strength within you. Life may not always be easy, but with the right mindset, every challenge becomes easier to handle. Remember, you are part of something much larger than yourself, a small stream in a vast river that is the universe. Thank you for taking this journey toward a more peaceful and present life. Keep these lessons close to your heart, and you'll find that life becomes more fulfilling and joyful with each passing day.